Alright, so hey guys, so welcome to another Warframe video, and the Duviri paradox is finally here. So let's talk about it. Accessing the paradox is very simple. You just click the Duviri mask on the navigation and there you are. Initially, you can only do the quest, which is understandable, but once you finish the quest, you'll be presented with three options. Those being the circuit mode, which is a Warframe-only string of endless missions in the Undercroft, the Duviri experience, which will have you bounce between the open world and the Undercroft, and the lone story, which is basically the same thing, it just doesn't have any side objectives or distractions. The whole of Duviri operates on sort of like a roguelike principle, so at the start of every run, whether it's Circuit or the Duviri experience, you will be teleported to a cave where you select from a random selection of gear for that run. The cool thing here is that you don't actually need to own things for them to show up. It's still beneficial because if you own the gear in the normal game, you can customize the build on it, but if you don't, you can still pick it and it's gonna have a generic build that was made by the devs. Whilst in the cave, you can also change your drifter's melee. I'm assuming you have to unlock these. I didn't have to do that because I'm a Warframe partner, so I actually got all the melee weapons up front for free. And you can unlock and fiddle around with the different intrinsics for the drifter. You get points for this by simply doing stuff in the paradox. Now once you finally start a run and you finish your objective, whether it's in Duviri mode or circuit mode, you get to pick one out of few decrees. These are permanent buffs that will last for the duration of that run, and they range from really good, like rolling reloads a weapon, or rolling gives you massive crit bonuses, to doing minuscule damage while sliding around. You also have a horse, which can fly, that you can ride with the drifter. This helps with traversing the terrain, but you will also need it for some of the horse races that you need to do as a part of the paradox. But perhaps most importantly, you will need to use the horse to access the final worm boss fight. The way this works is once you're done with the initial 6 stages of a normal Duviri run, you can choose to pick up an Orpheus left there by Titian to take on the Aura Worm. Also, I'm really sorry about the choppiness of the footage, but Duviri is just really laggy for me. The way this works is you need to chase the Aura Worm through the sky whilst shooting down the orbs it's firing at you. You really need to be careful here because I don't know if they're gonna change this or not, but for now, if this orb hits you, it one-shots you. Whenever you destroy one of these orbs, it creates an area that gives you a massive speed boost, and you really can't catch the worm without the speed boost, so you need to wait for the orbs to be right in front of you before you destroy them. Also, be mindful of the little worms that float around the big one, as they will fire a projectile at you that will dismount you. Now, I'm only gonna show you a normal mode version, because apparently, from what I've heard, there's a steel path version which does have extra mechanics. Now, once you finally get close enough to the worm, you can grapple onto it with the Orpheus like so. Once you do that, you slowly need to make your way to the Aura Worm's head to take possession of it. You do this by jumping off the Aura Worm and grappling onto another segment. Now, as you just saw there, the Aura Worm will send like electrical shockwaves down its body whilst you're doing this, so you need to avoid these by basically doing the same thing. You jump off and grapple back on. Once you make it all the way to the head, you take control of the Aura Worm, you destroy 2 tether towers, and then you fly through a portal to fight it. With the final fight essentially boiling down to shoot the rings around the Aura Worm and don't die. It's very cool though. And that's kind of like the basic idea of the story mode in Duviri. You go in, you faff around a little bit, you do some objectives, maybe you do a bit of fishing, maybe a bit of this, maybe a bit of that, and then when you feel like it, you take on the worm, and then you do it all again. The Warframe-only circuit mode, on the other hand, is a little bit different. Firstly, you need to choose a path, which is a new way to farm Warframe. So for me, for example, I can either go after Excalibur, Trinity, or Ember. When you select one of these, you'll be locked into it until the next weekly reset, and as you do stuff in the circuit, you will slowly progress towards getting all the bits and bobs you need for that frame. However, there is also a Steel Path version, which is how you farm the Incarnon adapters. And here you actually have to select 2. You get the first one at tier 5 and the second one at tier 10. The cool thing about the circuit is you don't just get the things you select, and this goes for the normal Warframe path as well. You can get resources, arcanes, adapters, and all kinds of different stuff. The circuit takes place exclusively in the Undercroft, so it's Warframe combat, and it cycles through a few different mission types. It cycles between 5 waves of defense, 5-minute survival, excavating 300 cryotic, sealing 5 ruptures in a void flood, and killing an X amount of enemies in an exterminate. Whenever you finish one of these mini missions, you get to choose a decree, so you will slowly power yourself up as you do more and more stuff. And there are also decree fragments scattered throughout the mission, so you can get extra decrees if you find them all. The circuit is a really good way to farm a lot of different stuff, but the difficulty of it will be wildly different based on what kind of gear you get to pick. Because again, just like with the story mode version of Duviri, with the circuit you also have to choose from a random selection of gear. And that's kind of like the basic idea of the Duviri paradox. Most established players will probably spend the vast majority of their time with this update in the circuit mode to get the encounter adapters, but the story mode with the Aura Worm boss fight and faffing around, fishing and all that in the open world is pretty fun as well. And that's pretty much it for the Duviri paradox. There's of course more stuff there, and I will make videos about all of the new things as time goes on, but I think this is enough for a quick overview, so I thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think about the Duviri paradox in the comment section down below, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.